We're going to take you on a little trip to a land called Hoogie Boogie Land. Where you going to go? They didn't hear you in the back. Hoogie Boogie Land!
Favorite songs can come into your life in so many interesting ways and for so many unique reasons. And you might not even know when it's happening. The first time I ever heard Hoogie Boogie Land from a backwater-looking band out of Fort Worth, Texas called Complete, I, like many other hundreds of thousands who found them on YouTube, was just laughing in bewilderment. It was late at night. My band was on tour, in Texas actually, and a time-honored tour tradition is to stay up late at night with your hosts and share YouTube weirdness. It's a cultural exchange of sorts. Our pal couldn't wait to hit play and watch our expressions as he showed us these far-out fellas from his neck of the woods.
Where life is always great.
We were blown away. If you are as yet uninitiated to Hoogie Boogie Land, it's an uplifting original rock and roll song about a magical land. Like many great uplifting original rock and roll songs about a magical land, this is a metaphor for drugs, and peace and love too. But unlike many of the classics, this one actually sounds like the song itself is on so many drugs that it's already in the magical land that the other songs only sing about.
We're all we want to be.
I still quote it regularly. I can't tell you how often I say "Spark it up, Sparky" as an affirmation to a friend.
So spark it up, Sparky, take us to Hoogie Boogie Land.
Or we're gonna take a little trip to a magical land before heading out to do something.
Man, you want to do us, the band, and all these people here a favor and take us on a trip to a magical land?
It also musically sounds like you just got hit over the head with a lead pipe and all of a sudden you can't taste or smell right and your eyes went crossed and your brains are leaking out of your ears as your crossed eyes then roll back into your head and you begin to drool a little. It's a euphoria you don't fully appreciate right off the bat because you're so taken aback trying to figure out what is going on. And what is going on? Well, one thing is clear, the musicians that make up the band Complete, bassist Sparky, guitarist Mark, and drummer Todd are quite amateur musicians. Sparky and Mark both look like they're concentrating very hard to play their parts, and Todd drums with the carefree unorthodoxy of someone who has never learned a single thing about playing the actual drums. And also, as is common with novice musicians playing together, they're so focused on just getting their own parts right, they're not yet listening to whether they're in time or even in key with their bandmates. I'm pretty sure Sparky and Mark are both one half step off from each other in where they think the riff is played on the fretboard. This creates an interval discrepancy of a minor second, which is one of music's great discordances. They also seem to be playing somewhat different riffs that only at certain times move together. And in Todd's freeform and rampageous drumming, you get a mix of flavors so bold it's like you just did a whip it off a Camaro tailpipe. But that's just setting the stage for singer Curtis Brumbelow, aka Kurt Lowe, who is also rather amateur in his singing, but is just straight up sending it with all the bravado and panache of Freddie Mercury at Wembley Stadium.
Hoogie Boogie Land, Hoogie Boogie Land, Hoogie Boogie Land, Hoogie Boogie Land, Hoogie Boogie Land.
The discrepancy between ability and passion is so gobsmackingly great, you cannot help but be won over into this man's world. At one point, Kurt sings, "We have no war, we have no hate. Can you all relate?"
Can you all relate?
Brother, I am on board. I packed my bags. See you at the station. And screw a visit, I'm moving to Hoogie Boogie Land.
Tonight on Music Venue, we're talking to the band Complete from Fort Worth, Texas.
The next video our Texas pal showed us was an interview with the band from the same performance, where we get an opportunity to learn a bit about the thought process behind what is in fact going on. The first thing we learn is the band name Complete comes from the band members' names. Singer Kurt with the C, guitarist Mark with the M, bassist Sparky, whose real nickname is Creature and whose real name is Pete with the P, and drummer Todd with the T. Yeah, the initials CMPT form an incomplete version of the word complete.
All the initials are in that band name.
But the other thing we learn is that these guys are all about their original music.
We can do cover music, but we don't feel that's going to get us known.
So if we do our own music, which is real neat and unique and which everybody's going to find out.
Sure, one of the reasons they don't play covers is very possibly because they simply can't, but they actually give a list of reasons for why they're doing their own thing that are all the same valid and true reasons any original rock and roll or punk band will tell you. They got together and started jamming their own stuff, and they felt something, and it felt good. They don't want to get stuck playing in the cover scene circuit. Sparky actually uses the word underground to talk about the scene they want to be in that embraces original music.
It's not the underground scene where we can play our music and don't have to worry about the cover scene,
And he concludes by making the point that their music comes from their heart and their soul, and that's what counts. If you're keeping track, these are all the right answers, 100%. You may have laughed at Complete's musical abilities or their performance, but they just aced the test. So, Sparky, high five, dude.
You got to say?
Let's rock. Let's do it.
Let's rock.
We also get a few other songs from this legendary classic performance. There's the song Beautiful Sunrises, a song about the beauty of the world. While we should probably assume the result is more coincidental, musically Complete kind of sound like the greatest art rock band you never heard. And Kurt Lowe is kind of a bellowing poet straddling the line between passionate spoken word and discordant avant-garde rock singer. The way he speaks frantically into long arcing vowels that rocket and fall like they just launched themselves off the greatest cliffs into the most infinite ocean of totality is mesmerizing. The band keeps this hot, bubbling intensity for over 7 minutes on Beautiful Sunrises. This exact performance, if you just swapped out these rustic mulleted guys for young, hip mulleted art rockers and the location to 1970s NYC, no one would bat an eye, and they would probably get written up with praise in some underground zine reviews. But optics are everything, and decades later on random Texas cable access in some very likely strip mall venue, there was no glowing scene of hip-free thinkers to embrace them.
I can see nothing but the darkness of the night.
Then there's Into the Night, a straight-up grinder that tackles another classic rock and roll subject, the night itself. Its churning groove can practically bring you into a meditative trance, and its minimalist riff is like the perfect soundtrack to a stalker prowling the evening streets. This is Complete at their most ominous, and it's a necessary vibe to counterbalance the overall positive messages of songs like Hoogie Boogie Land, Beautiful Sunrises, Hot as Hell, and Dreaming, which round out this set. As Kurt Lowe beckons to us rock and roll warriors, Into the Night is where we all must take flight.
Into the night we all must take flight.
So, what happened to Complete after this? Well, according to a 2018 Facebook post from Kurt, the phone number belonging to Mark posted for the Complete hotline at the end of the interview got so many mean and hurtful calls it broke them up and drove them apart, at least for a while. But once the internet caught wind, they responded by totally showing up for it. They did a reunion in 2008, which still had Creature on bass, but saw Kurt also now adopting guitar duties, and I don't know, sounds like some hot ringer back there on drums. The band is in tune, Hoogie Boogie Land is reworked, Kurt's kind of switched to a gruffer grumble growl, but he can play that guitar. It lacks some of the original chaos magic, but they're still happy to do it to it like Sonny Pruitt. In fact, very happy to do it to it. From here, they go on to play South by Southwest showcases, do a little touring on their notoriety, the occasional interview. Kurt creates the Facebook page where there are update posts addressing the Complete nation, shared videos like an acoustic performance in the park, new recordings like this album with a cover that parodies Led Zeppelin 1, only it's a trailer. Genius. Hawk all the Killers swag in the Complete merch store. I'll put a link in the video description. Provide life updates like the sad, untimely passing of lifer and partner in crime Creature in 2017. And finally, an update on the untimely passing of Kurt Lowe himself in 2022. What I love is that Kurt accepted the Complete Nation, no matter how they came into his life. He wasn't stuck on being hurt that they were called the worst band or angry that people were laughing. He also didn't try to play into it like that was some joke they meant to do. He laughed with everyone. He also understood that there was real love by many. At South by Southwest 2019, even though they'd had a good version of Hoogie Boogie Land for years now, he joined a couple of dudes to recreate the original beloved Trainwreck version. He loved music. He loved playing music, genuinely, and when the virality brought him an audience, he accepted with open arms. It provided an avenue for Complete to be a vehicle for the rest of his life, a vehicle he seemed to love very much.
Complete.
Here's a song called The Other Side.
Look, as far as we know, we only get one rip on this trip, this wild hog ride we call life itself. So if you love doing something, you better do it. Sure, maybe for years if I pulled up Hoogie Boogie Land, it was to show the next unsuspecting friend. But as I've come to love Kurt Lowe and Creature, Mark and Todd, I just go back every so often to see them totally freaking send it for the first time all over again. It really has become one of my favorite songs. It's brought me so much joy. I take something from it with me, a good thing, a real thing. A thing that honestly holds the key over so many fake and false and misleading distractions that creative journeys will try and hoodwink you with. A perspective key that if you lose, you are officially locked out as an artist. And being locked out makes everything else completely futile. So spark it up, Sparky. Pack your bags. Let's go. From the dark nights to the beautiful sunrises. From the dreams we're dreaming to our waking hearts and souls. Let's always remember and never forget to turn up the heat and send it complete.
And all I got to say is, hey, I'm Kurt Lowe, and this is Sparky, and we just want to say we love y'all out there. Be safe and take care of each other. Love. That's the key word for me. L-O-V-E. Love one another. Ain't it right? Yeah. Okay, we'll see y'all later.